Hey Soul Family, I hope everyone's doing great today. So today I want to talk about a movie that I saw this past weekend called Nefarious. So there's a lot of really great spiritual wisdom in this movie that I would love to share with you guys. So this movie was about a guy on death row, and this high-ranking psychologist came in to question him to see if he was deemed insane or if he was not, and he would proceed on to be executed. So throughout this process, the psychologist asked him a series of various questions to probe into his life. And throughout that process, a demon came through his body and was expressing that he was a demon, and that basically what happened was that the demon has come through this man's body and caused him to do all this stuff. So throughout the movie, it goes back and forth from when the demon is talking to when the victim, who was the host body, was basically almost completely just in absolute shambles from what this demon was doing and controlling him to kill and to do all kinds of horrible things. So it was really interesting because in normal psychology, people would just look at this. So this is what happened with the psychologist, is they simply only want to look at it in a mental and psychological framework. But what this movie is portraying is that it actually has much, much more to do with spiritual warfare and spiritual entities coming into the body. So this is really important to understand because I believe that, and a lot of people believe that this is really what happens, that there are entities that will come into the body. Another time that they do this is when there's soul fragmentation, right? When trauma happens, the soul fragments, it leaves the body, which allows holes in the aura. And that allows these entities to attach and come in. Now, when people have extremely traumatic histories of various different kinds, and they have given the necessary consent for these demons to come in by being tempted and then taking that temptation, then they fully can inhabit them. So anyone who has been through or has experienced certain people can attest to the fact that it does seem like there's something else running people. So it's really important because we need to understand that we are in a spiritual battle, and that so when we deal with mental illness, we must look at it through a spiritual lens as well, that there are entities. So there's a few different ways that this can help us. One of the ways is that instead of just applying normal mental health treatment, we can apply spiritual treatment, which is very, very important if we're dealing with a spirit issue. So the solution to this is spiritual, right? If there's a spiritual mental illness, then we've got to have a spiritual solution. So that's the first point. The next point I would like to make about this is that when it comes to forgiveness, it's really important to realize that, like, when certain things are happening that people perpetrate against others, there are times where it really truly is other entities inhabiting that body. And so this helps us in our forgiveness process because we can separate the host, which is also a victim. And if you watch this movie, you'll really get to see how much this is true. And it'll really show you a whole spectrum of how hosts are victims. So another issue with this host victim is that it causes people to go into a shame spiral. Another point that you will see in this movie if you go check it out. So the shame spiral happens because the victim believes that it is them doing it. So they believe that it was them doing it, even if it wasn't. So they feel horrible about themselves. They continue on this spiral path. The people, and this is where we tie it back into forgiveness, because the people that it's happening to also think it's that person. but it's actually an entity that is coming in and controlling their body. So when it comes to forgiveness, then we need to look at the demons and the entities that are showing up and being fought, rather than necessarily blaming the host. Now, this doesn't mean to put yourself in a dangerous situation. There are people who are in these states and they've gotten complete takeover of their body. So I'm not saying to just forgive them and move along and that this is okay. No, that's not what I'm saying. You have to protect yourself. You must protect yourself from this kind of warfare. However, at a certain point, for your own healing and your own freedom, it is important that we can disconnect the host from the entity. And this will help you on your forgiveness journey and your healing journey, because if you can look at this as in a spiritual light, you can separate the perpetrator, and it will help you to forgive that person, because you can understand that they are under spiritual attack and a high spiritual level of attack that has also used their body to attack you. And again, I'm not saying to just go put yourself around these people or allow yourself to be harmed again. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this is going to help you to become more free and not be poisoned by the anger and the hatred of the people who harmed you. So there are a lot of different conversations that we could have over this, and I believe that this movie is going to come up in my videos again. So I just kind of wanted to share a little bit of the most prominent things that came out while I was watching this movie. So if you want to check it out, I watched it on Tubi. It's called Nefarious. There are a lot of interesting aspects to this movie, so definitely go check it out. And yeah, you can always come back to this video and listen to the things and kind of process it even deeper if you want to. So I hope everyone enjoyed this message and have a blessed day.